Amelia Clarke never imagined that an ordinary day in London would completely rewrite her life. She was quietly cleaning the top floor of an office building, just like any other day, when the fire alarm shrieked. Thick black smoke poured through the corridors, sending panicked workers scrambling for the exits. Chairs were knocked over, papers flew everywhere, and in the chaos, no one looked back. But Amelia did. She saw a man collapse by the lift, coughing violently, struggling for every breath. It was Edward Hawthorne, the young, formidable CEO known for his cold precision. Everyone else had rushed past him, but Amelia ran to his side without a second thought. His vision was already blurry, his voice a weak whisper. She guided him through the suffocating haze, step by step down the emergency stairs, until they finally broke free into the cold London air. Those moments of survival changed everything. At the hospital, the doctors delivered devastating news. The smoke had caused severe damage to her optic nerves. Her vision might never fully recover. As she adjusted to a world of shadows, Edward visited her every day. At first, it seemed like simple gratitude from a man who owed her his life, but his kindness slowly softened into something more. They shared late-night conversations, quiet meals in her hospital room, and a fragile connection began to form between them. When he eventually asked her to marry him, she said yes. She wanted to believe she had found someone who saw her for who she was, someone who valued her heart over her physical limitations. She desperately wanted to trust that a man like him could truly love a woman like her. Months passed, and slowly, miraculously, her vision began to return. First, it was just shadows, then blurry outlines, and finally, faces came into focus. But she kept this a secret from everyone, including Edward. Something about him had changed. His visits grew shorter, his conversations more distant. A strange impatience seemed to simmer just beneath his polite smile. Then, Charlotte Beaumont arrived. Edward's glamorous childhood friend swept into their lives, claiming she wanted to help Amelia with the wedding preparations. But her help felt more like a slow, suffocating poison. Charlotte criticized Amelia's choices, mocked her with sweet venom smiles, and constantly spoke as if Amelia's blindness made her a pathetic burden. Amelia said nothing, but she saw everything. She was watching more closely than anyone realized. One evening, standing quietly in the hallway, she overheard them. Charlotte was laughing, talking about how foolish and clumsy Amelia would look on her wedding day. Then she heard Edward's voice, cold and calculating. He complained that his investors needed to see him as a loyal, upstanding man, a man noble enough to stay with a blind woman. It was all for his reputation. They thought she was powerless. They believed she was a pawn in their game, seeing nothing, hearing nothing, and understanding nothing. But their cruelty didn't break her. It ignited a fire inside her, a quiet, resolute strength. She decided the wedding would go on, but it wouldn't be her humiliation. It would be her stage for justice. The wedding day arrived. St. Paul's Chapel was filled with anticipation. Journalists, business magnates, and the city's elite filled every pew, all there to witness what they thought was a modern fairy tale of love and devotion. When the grand chapel doors swung open, a collective gasp swept through the room. Amelia entered, not in the frilly, childish dress Charlotte had picked for her, but in a stunning, sleek black gown that commanded attention. She walked with calm precision, her posture radiating a power no one had ever seen in her before. As she reached the altar, Edward's face twisted from confusion into sheer dread. She lifted her chin, and her voice, clear and steady, echoed through the silent chapel. She told them everything. She revealed that her sight had returned months ago. While they thought she was blind, she was watching. She had recordings of their conversations, their mockery, their cruel plan to use her disability to polish Edward's public image. Shock rippled through the crowd. Edward tried to silence her, to grab her arm, but the truth was already out, spreading faster than he could contain it. Then, she delivered the final, devastating blow. She revealed her true identity, Amelia Clarke Harrington, the sole heir to the Harrington family of Manchester, owners of a massive technology empire. She had chosen a simple life, hiding from her family's legacy, wanting to be loved for herself, not for her fortune. The color drained from Edward's face as the reality crashed down on him. He hadn't manipulated some powerless cleaner. He had revealed his true, despicable character to a woman whose influence dwarfed his own. With her head held high, Amelia declared the wedding cancelled, ending their sham of a relationship in front of everyone who had once praised him. She turned and walked out of the chapel, leaving behind the whispers of scandal and the wreckage of his reputation. Outside, in the crisp London air, a familiar face was waiting. It was her childhood friend, Oliver Turner. He'd come all the way from Scotland after hearing about her wedding, sensing something was deeply wrong. His warm, genuine smile was a comfort she hadn't felt in months. As they walked away from the church together, Amelia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She had stepped out of the shadows. She was no longer the blind bride or the manipulated fiancée.